Let me my volume up. Sometimes my iPhone, like I was just telling you, is really funky. So if people join, I'm going to ask them if they can hear me. Because if not, I have my earbuds I can plug
Okay.
in.
I can hear you, so I think that should be
Okay,
a
good.
sign, right? Maybe. I don't know. Cross our fingers. Hi.
Oh, so I was just messaging. Okay, this is so crazy. So I don't know your people that well that are watching this, but you and I have so much in common. So we have a golden doodle too. I was like, what are the odds of that as well, on top of all of the other list of things that we keep finding we have so much in common? It is so crazy how the world brings people together.
And you know what's so fun? Okay, so I think Gina, I just
Yeah.
randomly found her on Manifestation Babe,
Oh my.
and we were just chatting, and she goes, I know Andrea. I was like, what? How does that, like, out of all of the Instagram world, how does that happen?
Yeah, so her and I met taking a health coaching certification together online when I lived in Las Vegas, and she lives in Blue Springs, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm from Blue Springs." And she's like, "That's where I grew up." And I'm like, "What? This is so
How does that
crazy."
happen?
Yeah,
Like, that's crazy.
yeah, so we met through the coaching program, and then yeah, we've become really really good friends. I adore her. I love all of her work.
That's awesome. Okay, so I would love to like start and hear your story. Like where did you start to transition like your mindset and this new path and all of that?
Yeah, so like I was just saying, I started off with, well, I didn't even start off with health coaching. I started selling doTERRA essential oils, which I'm sure everybody's very
Yeah.
familiar with doTERRA. I was doing that, and then Charlie was born. And so something really interesting happened with my daughter's birth. So my husband and I met in Las Vegas, but we're both from Kansas City, but we never knew each other here. And as we started getting to know each other, we both found out in 2005 in Kansas City, we both lost babies in the exact same, only an hour and a half away from each other. And so when we got pregnant with our daughter, it was obviously something very special to us. And so we decided, we kind of had these not so great hospital experiences. Let's look into home birth. And at first, my husband was like, "Oh, all right, I love your oil." Like, like what? And we went to like a consultation, and we both laughed, and he was like, "This is what we're doing." And then I started doing hypnobirthing, which introduced me to hypnosis. And my whole pregnancy, I would go to sleep and I would just visualize it would be storming outside,
Mm.
and contractions, and then I would birth her, and a rainbow would
Oh
appear.
my
And
gosh.
my like, oh, I love you, but you're just getting here by the minute. Um, so one guy comes, and it's storming in Las Vegas. It doesn't storm a whole lot there. And he messages me, and he's like, "Is the baby coming?" And I was like, "I'm having Braxton Hicks contractions right now." And so we had her at home. It was so beautiful. The next morning, one of my best friends sends me a picture, and it's of a rainbow
Oh
covering
my
the
gosh.
of Las Vegas. And she's like, "There's your rainbow." And I was like, "I manifested that." And then to just pull it all together, to just kind of show you how the universe and God shows off, my midwife came the next day to check up, and I was explaining to her what happened, and she's like, "Well, that's because she's your rainbow baby." And I didn't
Oh.
know at the time, when you lose a baby and then the next one comes to fruition, that's your rainbow baby. I had no idea. So it was just like the icing on the cake that, like, one, there's something bigger and higher out there than what we can even imagine. But two, you get to co-create that with that higher power. And it just was like this reassurance and validation that we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. We can really call in anything, like something as crazy as, I wanted it to storm and there to be a rainbow. Like, if I can do that, like tying in mindset, like if you have a desire to do something, I truly don't feel like it's placed there on accident. That seed and that wish is, from God, from creator, whatever universe, whatever. I just tell people whatever resonates for you. And if God didn't think you could do that, he wouldn't dangle in front of your face, right? Like he wouldn't say, yeah, I'm gonna put this dream and wish and hope and idea inside of you, but you'll never be able to fruition because you're not capable. That's just not a thing. So yeah, a little bit of a tangent to get to. I started after all of that. I started doing health coaching, and health coaching is great, but it's a very kind of, it's not superficial by any means. Health coaching is very important. But as I started peeling back the onions of the layer of the symptoms of why we're overweight and all these things, realize that energetic thought or belief that was rooted in us at a young age that transforms and just it develops the rest of our life. It dictates how we show up the rest of our life because we believe this thing that was said to us at a young age. And so from there, I transitioned into life coaching, and I did yoga teacher training. And I don't know if people on here, if you have the opportunity just to do yoga teacher training just for yourself, it will just radically change your entire life for the better. Like, it was the most amazing thing I've probably ever done besides having a home birth.
That is awesome.
Sure.
That is so, okay, so how funny. Charlie is like a boy name. My daughter's name is Mason, which is a boy name. And I have had 3 unmedicated births. One I had the epidural. They like messed up on that. Long story, but then I had my son in the hospital unmedicated. Then I had my other 2 babies at a birthing center unmedicated, and it was great. I have very fast labors. Like my 4th one came in 45 minutes. It was insane. But the same as you. So I've always been a believer in like a different kind of life, but I was always held back. Like there was always just something like held back. I always say I'm like knocking at the door and it just never would open. It never fully opened. So in October, and like you, I've done life coaching. I don't have my yoga teacher thing. I want to do that, but I have yoga trapeze. I became certified, and I did that for a little bit right before the pandemic happened. And then like I had 2 kids, like 2 babies back to back, and that just consumes you, you know. They're 3 and 1 now, the babies, because I went from the older 2 to like a gap, and then back into baby mode was like a whirlwind. And in October, this past October 2023, we've just been going through so many like financials up and down. Like stuff would happen, it wouldn't happen. Stuff, I'm like, something has to change. So I was on the verge. So I'm a hairstylist, right? I give people therapy all day long. Like a lot of them tip me. They go, thanks for the session. And I'm like, you're welcome. And so I'm working 1 day a week, and I was on the verge of having to go back another day financially. And I just know, like, I've been doing that for 15 years and I love my clientele, but it's pulling me away from my bigger mission. So I said, okay, something has to change. So I said, I've never gone all in. I've like, okay, I'm going to dip my toe here. I'm going to like do it over there. And like, I really wanted to get rid of my negative self-talk, that the what ifs, the worrying, the stress, and finally said, forget it. I'm all in. So October, all day long. It took a while, like changing my thoughts, and now I finally am like so aware and I can catch myself. And this looks like talking to myself all day long. Like, and like crazy stuff has happened. Like I think financially right now for us, like right when I would like feel a little worry, I'd stop myself, and then we would get like this like huge lump sum of money. And I'm like, that's why. That's why. And now I'm like a firm believer, like in just not stressing about it because it always works out.
I agree. Well, it's just like we were talking about manifestation, like just manifesting things. Like you have to match up to that frequency that you're trying to attract. And if you're stressed, then you're just attracting more stress, which, you know, sounds easier than done, right? Like people are probably like, okay, well, how do I shift from, you know, stress stuff out and just like, it's going to be okay. if I don't know it's going to be okay? Like if I, you know, most people are like, I don't know what's to happen next. So what would be a piece of advice you would tell people like that helped you get to that mindset? Because
Yeah.
it's a hard thing, right?
It's so hard. I would say the biggest shift for me was not trying to control the outcome. Like we always say, what if this, what if that? Like we're stressing over the outcome that hasn't even happened yet. And that was like the biggest shift for me, like completely releasing the what ifs, the how the money is going to come, the when the money is going to come. And just, I always kept telling myself, I'm focusing on this present moment right now, and that's all I have to do because I already know the rest is being taken care of. I don't even have to worry about that. And like keep telling myself that every day. I just felt this weight like lift off my shoulders, like not worrying about how it's going to come to me. And then sometimes when we have such control of how we want something to turn out, we're blocking off other ways for it to come in. Like there could be a bigger reason, a bigger impact you could make, but you're closing it off. So I was like, I don't want to close it off. Like I want to be open to all things that are coming to me. So I'm just going to do my work, focus on my sole purpose, my mission, and I'm going to let God, the universe, take care of the rest. So that was the biggest shift for me.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's everyone's number one thing is like that fear of the unknown, but like that's where all the magic happens.
Yes.
Like you just have to process. And also like a fun little story too is sometimes what we think we want isn't like really what the universe has in plan for us. And so I made the mistake of, so we've been traveling all over the country since COVID. Like COVID's just having us, you know, it flipped a lot of worlds, but I think definitely for the better. I definitely that that was my most amazing transformative year of my life because that's my training online. We were in South Florida, so we were quarantined on the beach, and we were just outside in nature all the time. So I was just like really rooted and grounded. I later found out through like, I don't know if you're familiar with your astronatal chart.
Yes.
But it tells you like where in the world you best thrive in different areas of your life. And for that area, it's like all about transformation. And I was like, oh, I felt it. It was awesome. It was so awesome. But anyway, so we were in Vegas for over 10 years, and we traveled down there pre-COVID, and then COVID, that happened, and then we moved to Kansas City, and now we're moving to St. Louis, which is only 3 hours from here. But this summer, I went to this manifestation, like new moon workshop, and I was like, I really just want to manifest a house. Like, we're still renting since we've been here. I want to plant roots, and like something kept telling me to do that. And so we went through this whole process of buying a home, and it fell through at the very end, just like the very end. And I was devastated, and I was like, what the freak, man? Like, this is what I want. But then I was like, but is it really what I want? And now in hindsight, like looking at it, like we're moving to St. Louis, but it is the most beautifulest blessing for our family in like all of the ways. And so sometimes like when you are manifesting, I don't know, I just keep going back to that because I love that. And I know you have something to share at the end of this about manifestation. So stay tuned, ladies, if you want to learn about manifestation, which I feel like everyone should want to learn because we're already doing it. So why not consciously do it?
Yep.
So it was a hard lesson for me to, before you sit down and start manifesting things, you have to take off, like put the ego, check the ego, put it to the back of the bus. And then we are so bombarded by so much like information here, like on Instagram, TikTok, and sometimes we think we want what other people have.
Yes.
But that's not what our soul like truly desires. So like before you manifest, really like drop down into that heart space and like double check it, because I was going a little overboard with it, but it happened so fast. Like I was like, I manifest this and I want this, and it was just things were flying at me, but it wasn't in the order that the universe had in plan for me. So I had breaks there.
That makes sense. We're in the same situation right now. So we're in California, and it's very pricey. We live in a 2-bedroom townhome with 4 kids, and we're moving. We have to rent because, you need like $200,000 down to buy out here. So like we're gonna move into a house, we're gonna rent, and everything, like there was just like a block and a block, like something like kept happening. We're like, what is going on? And I said, okay, there is a reason, there is a reason. And then we got our tax return back, and I was like, wow, okay, we just need like 6 months and we can buy. I'm like, there it is.
That's
There's the
amazing.
reason.
That's amazing. Yes, I feel like I like what you said, like turning the negative into a positive, or it's not even really a negative, just like looking for what's the lesson here or what's the bigger picture, right? Being more optimistic instead of pessimistic, kind of like you're saying with like the mindset earlier, like there's something bigger and better out there if you are just patient and trust the process.
It's so true. And you have to remember too, if you're putting out the negative, right? Even if you're not saying it out loud and you're just thinking in your head, that's what you're asking for. Like you're asking for that negative stuff to happen. So that's what switched for me. I was like, I don't want that. I only want
Yeah.
like the good stuff. So that's all I'm going to think and say.
Yeah, 100%. My husband makes fun of me because he's like, you're just always so positive. Like, well, we're definitely yin and yang to each other. Like, God knew what he's doing bringing us together. And I was like, I can't help it. Like, my nickname, so I played AAU basketball, high school basketball, college basketball. And my high school coach he nicknamed me Smiley because I'd always be, and he's like, do you have, oh, are you going to say something?
That was my nickname growing up.
No way. I got goosebumps. This is so weird. Guys, we have way too much in common. It is so crazy. I'm tripping right now. Yeah. Okay. How did you name Smiley? I have no words.
And you know what's what, you guys, we literally just met. We just started talking, I don't even think it's like a week ago, maybe.
Maybe a week ago. Just I'd say random, but nothing's random, but literally just last week. But like I just made this post the other day. So I love all things subconscious, conscious parts of the brain, inner child healing, like all those things. So I'm obsessed with Carl Jung's teachings, and I follow all of Carl Jung's stuff on Instagram. And this thing popped up, and it said the second you just start showing up unapologetically you, and like no filter, in a loving way, you're just going to be a magnet for your people to find you. And like that's the only way I can explain like us meeting, because like I wasn't really in the arena of looking to join something like Brandpreneur Brandpreneur Academy. But it popped up like on Katie's, and I saw her, and I don't know, I was instantly pulled towards it. And yeah, and then I meet you. So
I love it. Okay, well, I want to hear what is like your soul purpose path. Like, where are you going now? Like, what's next?
yeah, so I definitely feel like it's ever evolving and expanding. I noticed that as I take 5 steps forward, I'm learning that those people that are just right behind me, I'm mentoring them, I'm guiding them, I'm showing them like what to do, and I think that's why I love it so much. As you know too, I'm also a 3-line profile in human design, which means I have tried everything. I experiment the out of things in life to show you what not to do so you can. And at first I used to get really upset with myself because I'm like, God, I have such squirrel brain. Like I want all the programs, I want to read all the books. I literally read 3 or 4 or 5 books at the exact same time. Like my brain just can't help it. It's just like information. And I'm really good. I joke around and I call myself the queen of simplification. I'm really good at stuff and just simplifying it. And I think that's what makes me a coach for moms, especially because if it's not simple, we're not adding it to our plates of a million other things that we're doing, just not happening. And so, and because I'm that way, I mean, I'm sure every mom on here can agree, like just dumb it down for me, make it simple and actionable, and I will do it. And so with all of that, I feel like it really highlights my strengths in coaching. And so anyway, so I take all of that, and I feel like my soul's purpose literally just to keep sharing my story, shining my light really bright, and whatever that looks like. And I have this strong drive. This thing just hit me. So I grew up in a Christian home, and we were taught that the world's going to end. And that's kind of scary as a kid. Like, you know, the world's going to end and there's going to be a fiery pit of hell and we're going to be thrown in it and some people are going to go up to heaven. Like, that's scary as a child. And I just came to a new realization that no, that's not going to happen for me anyways. I don't feel like that's going to happen. I'm going to just create a better future for my child to live in and her children's children and so forth and so on. Like, we have the capacity to change the trajectory of our future, collective thought, right?
Yeah.
And so if we stop talking about this dumb shit that we're talking about, we start talking about positivity and loving our neighbor and loving ourselves first and foremost, then that starts with you, and then it bleeds into your children, and it bleeds into everybody in the home, and then unity, and then, you know, into the world. So I just am working on myself constantly to share with others so they can make themselves better, so we can just make this place amazing for our kids. That's it.
I love that. That is so beautiful. And okay, I did the most generator thing. Okay. As a generator, we like to just go do things. That's how we learn. And our dryer stopped working. So I decided I'm just going to go online and order one. Not even thinking. And I ordered an electric one. And I guess we have a gas hook.
Oh, no.
My husband's like, he's just used to it now. He's just honestly used to me just, like, I'm not afraid to try things, you know, like I'm not afraid to try many things and I'm going to learn. And that's how I learn best. So I just had to share that part of the story.
Well, yeah, it was like the generator. You're like, I'm going to get things done. I'm a get done things type of girl. I don't get it done. We're like, oh, shoot.
Back up. Yeah.
I know that until we recently bought a washer and dryer. I had no idea that there was like different things. So you're not alone.
Yeah, no clue. Well, I love that that's your purpose and your mission. That's amazing.
And share with us what yours is.
I'm ever evolving, figuring it out. As you, I like go down different roads, and
Yeah.
I hate putting myself in a box. Sometimes I do that. I'm like, this is it, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I think I just truly love sharing my outlook on life, that you can kind of live this different life. Like, you don't have to live the 9 to 5, what people say. Like, there's just so much more to life. Like, I just love life and what it has to offer, and just truly going after every component of it and focusing on your mindset. I'm really passionate about helping people figure out their path, like pulling it out of them, getting to the root, like the root cause, the root problem. I truly just like, I love that. And just finding yourself, like, who are you? Like, all those growing up, people put their beliefs on you, and they might not be yours, but you've believed them for so long. Sometimes it takes all the unwinding of that to figure out, well, who am I? Especially after having kids, you kind of get lost, especially, I would say, until they're like at least 1, maybe even 2. You kind of just get lost in taking care of them, because it's 24 hours a day. You constantly just they have to have your attention. So when you come, like, you're like surfacing out of that, right? Like around, like, I would say 1 to 2, you're like surfacing back up to breathe, and you're like, wait, who am I now? And I love helping people kind of figure that out. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah. And I love business too. I love business. I love money. I just love it all.
Like, I'm all. Hence why you just say you're a life coach. You all.
That's it.
Buddy, I feel like too, I want to touch on what you said, because I feel like it ties into a little bit of like how we talked about sometimes when we become moms, we have to refine ourselves. It's not, we're not are we're transforming into something. We're like the caterpillar, you know, you become a mom and then you're just called for something even greater. And in that transformation births the new you too, you know? And I liked what you just said about, oh my gosh, my brain just, I mom brain. Look, go off of the, oh my goodness, holding, what were you just saying? It was so
About,
good. It was so good.
like resurfacing when they're like 1 or 2.
No, right before that.
Hmm.
Oh, and all the things you want to help moms do, like
Well, yeah, finding their purpose. Like, who are they? That probably.
yes, okay, yes. So I lost it. I lost. It was so good. There was something that you just said, and I was like, oh my god, that is so good with finding yourself again. It will come back to me, guys. I promise. But can we talk a little bit about more about that, like finding yourself as a mom, like after you have kids and you're finding yourself and you're kind of like, okay, oh yeah, this is what it was. You were talking about putting yourself in a box, like how you don't like doing that. That's what it was. And so as moms, we sometimes we put ourselves in box. We're like, okay, well now we're mom and you know, I can't really do the other things I used to do or be this way. Like, who says that? Like, who told you that? Like, why can't you put on that sexy dress and go out on town? Like, go out with your girlfriends. How come you can't do your hair and do your makeup? Like, yeah, maybe we're tired, but like, tell me the energy doesn't shift when you like actually take a shower and wash your hair and put on deodorant versus just wearing pajamas all day. It's like a different
Yeah.
energy. And so I think like as moms, like it's a beautiful blessing that we get to wear the mom hat, but we also get to wear all these other hats, including who we are as an individual and how we want to show up. And I think what's most important for us to do for a why, for us to find our purpose again and find who we're supposed to be, is so our kids can see that. So see us, they see us modeling that, they become mothers, they don't have to have such a hard time finding themselves, right? Like they're gonna see, oh, my mom did that. I'm just gonna do what she did.
Yeah.
And so go back to make your kids the reason why and why not, right?
Yes.
Like they're watching you way more than they're listening to you. Like they're watching what you're and going back to what you said at the very beginning about like that blueprint, we have a blueprint hardwired in us from 0 to 7 years old that it is hardwired about how we view relationships with others, with ourselves, how we view finances, religion, politics, like everything. And that's why it can be really hard as we become adults and we're like, I want to be here. I'm stuck here. I don't know how to get over here. It's because you have to redo that hardwiring. You have to reprogram mind for this new belief system and this new reality that you're in. So yeah, so like we just, I think as moms we have to take pride in doing that inner work and refinding ourselves again and just get at why. When you're having a hard day, look at your kid. That's why I'm doing it. There's no bigger reason why than them, right?
It's so true. And I was talking to Katie about this too. When your kids are older, obviously when they're younger, it's hard to do this. But when they're older, my 7 and 9-year-old, because we homeschool, sometimes I have to explain to them, look, I'm with you guys all day long, right? I'm with you all day long and I'm happy to do that. We're doing school, we're doing all these things, but sometimes I need 30 minutes and like to come upstairs, and I am very fortunate, my husband does work from home, so I do have that flexibility and I get that, but I have to tell them or else their little booties are following me up here, and I'm like, you gotta give me my 30 minutes, like. And I feel at first I almost felt guilty, but I'm like, no, because this is showing them later on they can also take that time to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And this includes working out, you guys. My gosh, that is just, it's so vital as a mom to have your health because you need to keep up with them, first of all. So it's so vital. And this could look like working out with them. If they're jumping on you or if you just start doing it, they'll catch on. My 1-year-old is doing squats now, like just do it with them, like make it work. squeeze it in and make it work, even if it's just 20 minutes, you know?
100%. I always joke around and say, no one ever worked out and said, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
Yes.
But how many times do you say, oh, I worked out, right? Like, one, again, modeling what self-care looks like for your kids, super important. And two, like, working for your mental state. Like, it is
Yeah.
like your mind, you will be so more cool, calm, and collective in your parenting. And then everything else just flows from it. You know, your health, your body, your confidence, your creativity with your work and how you're showing. Like, it's just one of those things that should just be a non-negotiable. And that it doesn't have to be like, I had to really undo the wiring in my brain that you have to work out first thing in the morning and you have to go to the gym to do it.
Right.
Like, that was really hard for me to undo that. And so I actually got in a routine for a very long time of where I would just mom the shit out of the day and then I would work out at night. And then it was a time for me to leave the house, have some time to myself. I exerted out all my last bit of energy as a generator, and then sleep so good. Like, I would sleep amazing. And I was like, I just hacked the mom system. Like, but then also, like you said, if you can't physically leave the house to go to the gym, just bust out and work out with them. Like that, there's nothing more beautiful than that. Of course, you want, sometimes you're like, I just want some alone time while I work out. But other days that doesn't happen. So just bring the kids in with you. That's what they
So true. And you have to be flexible. That's like the biggest thing. And sometimes, like, that's where the control has to be let go. You have to be flexible because sometimes those kids will sleep till 7 and sometimes they're up at 5. Like, you just don't know, and you can't let that rattle you. And you just have to constantly remind yourself, it's okay. I will get that time later. We have all day. I'm going to be able to fit it in later. We have all day. I just have to do this right now. And let's hold each other accountable. Let's make this year, stop making excuses. Because if you actually want to change, it's work. And it could just be like a little bit through each day, right? You don't have to, okay, today I'm going to wake up and like do all these things that you've never done before. Just start with one, like lay a brick each day and build that habit, and eventually you'll have your wall. But it starts with being aware of your excuses you're making and stop doing that. That's literally where it starts.
Yeah. There's a really good book that I love called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I have all my clients read that when we start working together because it helps you understand, like, if you want to change something, you have to change the way you've been showing up because it obviously hasn't been working because you don't feel happy. And so you have to, like, literally change your environment. You have to change the belief system. But most importantly, like, we're so quick to make this crazy to-do list to better ourselves, but then it's so daunting that we scrap the whole thing. And so I love what you say, like, get really good at one thing for a week or two and then stack another thing on top of that, right? And get really good at that until it's a habit and it feels comfortable. Because if it's not a habit, subconsciously your brain's gonna pull you out of it because your ego, or not your ego, but your brain is constantly trying to predict the outcome of the future. So past experiences. So when you do things, it's like, shoot, she's going into that known again. Like crazy. And because I mean, it's designed to keep you safe, right? Like when you're stressed out, like, it literally does not know if you're running from a bear or if you're just stressed. Like, so that's it. It's really, really important. We just, like, calm ourselves down, take it slow. Don't try to, like, do a 180, in a day, because it's not going to happen. And just start small, like small wins over a consistent period of time, compounded, or you're going to see massive results, like massive results. And accountability. I saw you put on our, like, little thing, like, you have to have accountability too. This is why most people fall off, is because they don't have accountability.
It's
9 times people will start for a good week or 2 weeks, maybe 3, and then fall off. Like, if you don't have somebody keeping you accountable, then it's going to be really hard. Like, find yourself an accountability buddy for sure, or hire a coach.
Yeah, hire a coach. And just like think, you guys, this doesn't have to happen right now. Like I'm a right now person, but I have to constantly remind myself, like, we have a lifetime. Like we have a lifetime to like shift these habits. So I just, if you guys want to follow us, there's a little button at the top with an arrow and you can click it and you can like follow each of us. And I know like we're very open to in our DMs if you just want to talk. Like I'm always here to listen, or if you need help with anything, like please like reach out and let us know.
Absolutely, 100%. Do you want to share this amazing project that
Oh,
you've been working?
yes. Okay. So I just finished it and it's called Manifestation Reset Tools to Shift Your Life. It's just a beginner course of tools to kind of start changing your mindset. It's basically everything I did in October to fully, I would say like 360 my mindset, like fully flipped it. And it's very beginner friendly. There's not like crazy stuff in there. It just is going to help you get started. There's some like visualization, guided meditations, just like little homework to do. I share a lot of my story, so you can kind of get to know me and see how I use these tools. So it is going to be launching next Tuesday. We're like 7 days out.
Yay. And who is this course for? Like, who would be the best person for it? I mean, I feel like everyone would, but just
This,
like who is
yeah.
it for? And if you've been struggling with blah, 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 you need this.
Okay, so if you have been struggling with living on a hamster wheel and you just feel like you're constantly in this state of stress and anxiety and you just can't, like, you're just stuck, like, you're literally just stuck in this cycle, this is for you. This is going to help, like, knock you out that door and onto a new path, a new direction in life. If you're tired of walking around with a weight on your shoulders, like that heavy weight, and you want to release it off your shoulders, this is for you.
I love that. And it's self-paced, right? Like they could just purchase it and just do it when it fits into their schedule,
Yes,
right?
self-paced, all self-paced.
That's like the best part,
Yeah.
moms. Like have no reason, or women or men or dads, whoever, like you said earlier, like this year is the year of we're not playing small anymore. Like you have ideas inside of you, you have desires, you have goals and dreams that need to be fulfilled because the world needs it. We need to start spreading more love and joy and good and all of those high vibrations, right? And I think a course like this is like a really nice beginner step to get your toes wet into whatever that is that you're wanting to birth out into the world. Like I feel like this is easy. You log in when you have time, you start doing that inner work, and then you come back to us in the DMs and you're like, okay, I need to put this in the world. Or maybe not even that. Maybe it's just like, I want to be a better mom. How can I be a better mom? How can I, I want to break these generational cycles and I'm having a hard time doing it. Whatever it is, if you go look at all of our stuff, like because we're those generators with those 3 profiles, we've done all the things. And I only have 1 child. I don't have 4, but sometimes I feel like it's even harder with 1 because I'm her constant
Yes.
play buddy. Like I don't anytime to myself like ever. And so when I had her, like it wasn't until she was 3 that's when I embarked on inner child healing. And I'm telling you guys, if you are wanting to show up consciously in your parenting, you want to show up more authentic with yourself, change and rewire those belief patterns you have so you can take this course and manifest all these beautiful things into your world and co-create, you have to dig into those past wounds, like we talked about earlier, like those energetic blocks, those belief systems that are holding you back. Those will always hold you back. If you have a desire and your belief does not support the desire, you are not going to manifest it. You just can't.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, I think this was great.
Hey, me too. We'll have to do this
Yes.
again. This was so fun.
Yes.
Thank you for hosting it. Tag me so I can reshare this too with everyone, rewatch it back. And like Jen said, just if you guys have any questions, just DM us. We're available.
Yes, sounds good. All right, have a good day, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.